Aloha, y'all. It is your favorite freak, and I am going to talk about how creationism has changed since I was being indoctrinated in the 80s in my church. So, if it's all true, then why does what creationism keep changing? It seems like what they taught me in the 80s would be true, but they teach different stuff now. But hey, don't ask questions. So I'm going to start out when I first remember being indoctrinated. I got to smoke. It's not bad. It's just, well, it's hard on children. Okay, y'all know me. I grew up reading the fucking encyclopedia, like the physical encyclopedia, for fun. That's what we had before computers and shit. So, and I excelled in school, and I excelled in science. That's why I became a physical therapist, because I had to have the stellar GPA to get accepted to the University of Mississippi Medical Center. Plus, an interview and a grueling pick the slip of paper and answer the question and try to, with three people. It was very difficult to get into. It was more statistically more difficult to get into physical therapy program than it was to get into medical school. You had to be even more kick-ass because there were less spaces and a lot of applicants for those small spaces. So, I excel in science. Just long story short, I don't want to say I'm smart, but I'm smart. And I was smart then too. But very raised Christian believer and stuff. But I remember the first time I started to think, this is some weird bullshit. It had to be late elementary school, junior high, early junior high, I think late elementary school, because I remember where each, place was in the church where we were having the indoctrination. And I remember that particular little space down in the basement, and they were talking about dinosaurs. And back then, in the 80s, they were saying that, early 80s, creationism said that dinosaurs they didn't exist. That the bones, the fossils that are being found, and this is, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. And the fossils that were being found were, they were put there by the devil to test our faith in God and the Bible. And if we believed that those were actually like fossils from ancient creatures, then we were following the devil. So that's how they dealt with dinosaurs back then. Now they deal with dinosaurs. Look, a piece of hair sticking up. Now they deal with dinosaurs by saying that dinosaurs were in the Garden of Eden and they were vegetarians, and they were on the Noah's Ark because they took them in as eggs or as babies, small. So the dinosaurs were on the ark, and what was it? After the fall of man. Oh, see, they were in the Garden of Eden and were vegetarians, but after the fall of man, they became meat eaters and could no longer live with humans. And then they even took them on the ark. And somehow, somewhere, they died. Maybe in the Great Flood, I don't know why they didn't live after the Great Flood. Not my creationists haven't accepted that. Haven't explained that to me where they are now. But that's what the fossils are. So the fossils are real, but they are not billions of years old. They're like 2,000 years old, 3,000, maybe 6, depending on whose timeline you're looking at. So yeah, that's how they dealt with dinosaurs. And then I remember being in high school, and they were giving us, it was a program specifically designed to teach us how to address our science teachers in class, in public school, when they were teaching us evolution in science class. They want you to go to school, okay, and be this Christian smartass who knows more than science, because Bible, and counter in class in front of everybody, counter your teacher and talk about chaos theory, because that was the big one. They don't bring that one up as much anymore, but chaos theory, everything, chaos theory says everything, is getting less complex, not more complex, whatever. And they had all these other theories. I noticed that those have kind of gone out of the wayside. I don't know what they're doing to high school students as far as creationism. Because I hear about I don't know if they're still going that way. I'll have to look up some websites for young adult creationism and how to counter the lies that you hear in science. I'll have to do that. So yeah. So for me, I remember thinking it was really fucking weird and not right that the dinosaur bones, the fossils, were a devil's trick to fool me. And if I believed that, I was going to hell. That was how they indoctrinated me. I didn't buy it. And then giving us snappy answers to bring up in class. In science class, to your high school science, to my AP high school science teacher. I think I'll bring that shit up. I'll start asking her about, I know you're teaching us this, but I got some shit to say. That is abuse. Anyway. One last smoke for the road. I see your face, Lefty. So, my advice, trust but verify.